Our approach was to be accessible by design. We have no QuickTime event, we have no color-based feedback, we have big text by default. I think that accessible design is good design.
Metroidvania games can be quite hard, and this one can be quite hard too. We really want the player to keep involved and keep playing the game.
How to make Metroidvania open to everyone? Because of that question, accessibility became a main topic, and we decided to prioritize it early.
We did a lot of playtests of the early builds of the games. We found out that wall jump can be difficult for people that aren't used to platforming games. So we did very small assists that are invisible, but if they weren't there, it will not feel the same way.
Sometimes a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work, and we need to provide options like high contrast for players with low vision or atomic difficulty parameters, because the challenge is relative to everyone. We want to provide a challenging game, but we really want to be sure that everyone can tweak the experience to their fitting.
We designed the game to be challenging but fair. We provided the players with more options to tweak some part of the difficulties, because some player wants to have easier fights or easier platforming. So we added these small options to make sure every player can enjoy the game the way they want. Even more challenging games like ours.
High contrast mode, it was the first for Ubisoft game. We had a lot of data to tag: enemies, allies, the player, all the rewards, traps. So it was a lot of data to process to be sure that people with low vision can play and understand what is happening on the screen.
Well, I've been involved in two different things. First one is the guided mode. The idea is that the players can get lost in the game, can forget what they have to do. So they can activate this mode. It can be temporary, it can be permanent. And they can get some hints, some help, some point of interest that appear on the map, and can help them to remember exactly what is the next thing to do, the next quest, the next things.
I think the guided mode is a really nice feature for the player, because it really helps players that can be intimidated by the exploration and the Metroidvania genre to enjoy their journey along our game.
Second way is for the memory shards. The idea is that, as you know, Metroidvania games always have a minimap, and the render is always quite basic because you have to understand the whole world very easily. But sometimes you forget that this particular place in the world looks like this.
One of the defining aspects of the Metroidvania genre is the principle of taking mental notes. There is a blocked path, and you need to acquire a new power or have a new tool and come back later. Historically, you had to memorize that path. It can be a cognitive load. It can be difficult to remember what you tried to achieve.
So the player can place a memory shard to remember that this particular place looks like this. So just place the cursor on the point of interest, and you can see a full screenshot of the game at this particular position.
We are on multiple platforms and we have cloud saves, so we had to be sure that the screenshot you take on the platform works on another, so it was quite a technical challenge too.
Actually, it's a new feature for this kind of games. We've made a lot of tests because we didn't know if the player would use it. And once they get it, they love it. They place them everywhere in the game, they really use it very much.
A lot of players said that it was helpful and that it seems natural. I think it really pushed the boundaries for the genre, and I hope to see this feature in other games. The central Ubisoft accessibility team really helped us along our journey, providing us feedback and knowledge on accessibility, but it was really the team that had the ownership of the accessibility features. The fact that we were a small team by Ubisoft standard, but with big ambition, was not an obstacle for accessibility, because every programmers, every designer were owner of their feature and responsible to make them accessible. For example, the programmer who did the fight added an option to automatically turn to the nearest enemies. We gathered learnings from disabled people in a regular playtest. We did some playtests with partners like Cap Games, And we also had some feedbacks at Ubisoft Forward or during our close previews. It helped us to iterate and to improve our accessibility settings like the high contrast, the text size, the difficulty parameters. Most of the accessibility settings will be available in the demo that will be released on January 11th. So we can't wait to see with the community to improve our accessibility settings.